Good day, podcast community. PeteKane here, Podcast Pete, and certified lifestyle coach. And we have a special guest on a cold day in Atlanta. It's good to have somebody on here that we get a chance to get to know. So put aside all your distractions. I want you to pay attention to our guest, Daniel Hicks. So Daniel, tell our viewers who you are, what you do, and who you serve, and then we'll get into your story in the podcast.
Yeah, well, thank you, Pete, for having me. My name is Daniel Hicks, and it is a cold day here in Atlanta, 20 degrees here, and icy. I know my northern friends are like, come on, guys, you'll be fine. But we're freezing down here, but yeah. But as far as me, man, first things first, huge Georgia football guy. Love the dogs. Go dogs. Father, husband, got 3 kids, 2 in college. One is 16. My youngest is 16. Only one at my house. And then I've been married for 24 years and been in pastoral ministry for 23 years. I currently serve as the campus pastor at our broadcast location in Atlanta at a church called North Metro Church. Love ministry, been doing that. That's my call in my life. But for the last year or so, been a certified team member for the John Maxwell leadership team. So certified teacher, speaker, coach. And I know we'll get into it, but just thinking about my journey with Maxwell, I've been a Maxwell fan for a long, long time. That guy's been in my ear, been influencing me for about 20 so years. And in the last year or so, just made a commitment to personal growth with his team more and became a leader for them. And so here I am just trying to add value to people. So thanks for having me on and let me talk about what I'm doing and where this is headed.
Absolutely. I love it. You know, in the ministry, leadership is so important. Yeah. When you first heard that there was a path to get better in leadership, what were you thinking when that person you had that conversation with? What were your thoughts when that conversation was happening?
Well, so you're alluding to, I told Pete off air about meeting someone who was in the program to become a certified coach and leader and trainer for Maxwell. And he was in the process, and it kind of piqued my interest. And really, I pursued this endeavor with the John Maxwell team because I believe in personal growth. I mean, John, he says all the time that the only way to guarantee that tomorrow is better is if you're getting better today and growing today. So I'm huge on personal growth. One of the quotes that stuck in my head that John has said probably for like maybe the last 15 years is that everything rises and falls on leadership. And so I just want to keep getting better and better and better as a leader. So I set out really for my own personal growth journey. I want to get better. I want to keep growing. Like no one ever really arrives at really anything. I mean, take any area of my life. I mean, I've been married for 24 years. I'm still trying to learn and grow as, you know, what it looks like to be the best husband I can be right now. I mean, because I've never arrived. I mean, been in ministry I've really been in church my whole life, but I know that, man, I never arrive in that as well. Like there's still so much to learn and grow in. And so I just want to keep getting better and better every single day. And so that's why I really reached out to the Maxwell team, is to continue to work on me to get better. And part of their deal is, hey, we want to add value to you. And then you in turn go add value to other people. So just kind of keep paying it forward, keep just giving it away to other people. And so that's really why I pursued this, is just for my own personal growth. But I know that helping other people grow makes them better, but also makes me better as well. So.
Yes, beautiful. I love that. I noticed that in the ministry and with people I know, a lot of them will say something like, yeah, my source is the Bible. And I say, yes, that's great. And I say, what else are you reading to improve yourself? I just stay in Scripture. I believe it's the foundation of everything. But what gave you that thought of personal growth? Because I think it's not as common as I'd like to see out there that people say, I want to get better, because there's plenty of books, plenty of things out there to help us get better, but we have to activate it. When did you start leaning into personal growth in your journey?
Well, I'll kind of give you a little backstory. I actually, my freshman year of college, I failed out. I got shown the door after my freshman year in college, and I was a terrible student. I really had terrible study habits. And long story short, I was trying to figure life out. And then I take some community school classes, end up transferring to a school where I ended up graduating and met my wife. And my wife, I was dating at the time, she was a straight A student. And I didn't want to be the dumb boyfriend that's like, hey, your report card has all A's. Mine has like C's and D's. I was afraid she was going to cut me off. And so it kind of secretly motivated me to, hey, I need to grow and learn and get better. And that just kind of like catapulted me into like, hey, I need to learn and grow, and I need to surround myself with people who can help me. I need to be reading everything that I can get my hands on. And so I just became an avid reader. Just something kind of clicked in me. It was like, for me to be the best version of me and to continue to get better for her, for me, for the world around me, I need to just grow. And, I remember on your topic of the Bible, and that's all I ever read. In seminary, I remember a professor saying something to the essence of, and I remember when he said this, I wanted to object and go fight the guy. He said something that it kind of like, I don't know, was hard for me to hear at first. He said something to the lines of, the Bible is adequate and sufficient, but not exhaustive. And when I first heard that, I thought he was taking a shot at the Bible. Like, hey, man, like, are you saying the Bible is not good enough? And basically his point was like, man, it has what you need for life and godliness, but the Bible's not going to teach you Spanish. I mean, maybe if you have a Spanish Bible, it might, but the Bible's not going to teach you about taking care of your pets. The Bible's not going to teach you a lot of things, how to barbecue. I mean, it's not going to teach you all these things because it's not exhaustive. And so for me, to continue to learn and grow in a lot of areas, I need the Bible, yes and amen. But man, there's also a lot of like, man, great content out there that I need to be taken in to continue to learn and grow and develop myself personally and be able to help people. So in light of all of that, I just set on this journey of like, just continue to read and put myself around people who can help me get better and better and better. And I'll say, I believe I'm a better person, better man, better husband, father, friend, mentor, just everything because of just investing in my own personal growth.
I love that. What would you say, like in the ministry, it's, you could probably put in 24/7 because there's always needs in there. How do you balance yourself with family, ministry, and your personal life?
I think, it comes down to, I feel like I live pretty principled. I have certain values that I adhere to that govern my time. I mean, honestly, I want to work hard. I mean, I really do. And there are, especially the church our size, in my role as the campus pastor, I'm kind of like overseeing congregational care and loving people and trying to mentor people and give my life away. Like the needs are endless. And so I could really be busy all day long, every single day. But I'm not. And I think part of that is because of one of my principles and high values is, man, I want to care deeply for my family and have a great tribe. And again, I've got 3 kids, a wife, so the 5 of us, I just want to make sure I don't lose sight of spending time with them. I mean, I remember early on when I was first in ministry, doing youth ministry, man, I inherited a ministry that had several hundred middle school kids in it. I was busy all the time. And my wife said one time, she goes, Daniel, hey, I want to encourage you. Hey, yes and amen. Go make disciples of those kids. But remember, your number one disciples are at home. And
Wow.
that was just so good for me to remind me, hey, listen, you're always going to have opportunities to go do things, but don't forsake your family. And for me, again, family's a high value. I want to have a great relationship with my wife. I want to have a great relationship with my kids. And so that means I say no to a lot of things. I don't actually spend a lot of nights out because that's when my kids are home. And that's where I get time to spend with them. Those are the nights where I take my daughters on dates. That's where me and my son go hang out. That's where I take my wife on dates. And so it really comes down to just being principled on what are my values, and then those kind of drive my schedule. And the reality is, I'm going to disappoint people all around me. I just know that. And so sometimes I have to say no to an appointment or an engagement. And I just know that, hey, sometimes I'm going to say no and I'm going to disappoint people. But I realized there's sometimes where I have to like cash in some relational equity with my family, and I have to say yes to those things. But because I've spent so much time with my family and honor them, my wife's like, yeah, sure. I bless you. Go do those things because you haven't been cheating me the whole time. You've been pouring into me. So when things come up and I'm, hey, I got to be out on this night. My wife's like, yeah, I get it. So go do it. So I think really my values are what drives my schedule.
That's beautiful. I love that. I've noticed that when it comes to saying no, those boundaries that we have to set in our life, at what point did you see yourself getting better at that? Because it's so important to learn how to say no. Because if we become a yes person, we lose our identity. We lose so much of what we're trying to do. When did you kind of like the light bulb went off to saying no to things?
Well, I'm still a work in progress because I have self-diagnosed ADHD, and I like to just be busy. And I like to work. Work is, I mean, I wish everybody loved their job as much as I love my job because it's just fun and life-giving, doesn't feel like work. And so I'm always a work in progress. But again, going back to my family, I mean, I think, man, when my kids were elementary, middle school age, I realized that, man, time is flying by.
Yes.
And I'm losing so much time with them. I have 2 kids in college, and they're out of state. They're out of my house. And I just realized early on, like, I have a goal for what I envision my future with my family to look like. I didn't know this is what I was shooting for. I didn't know how to articulate it this way, but Pastor Andy Stanley from North Point Community Church, he said years ago, and I kind of latched onto it, although I'd already been down this journey, but I know what the words were. He says basically he wanted to parent his kids and love his family in such a way that when his kids no longer had to be with one another, that they would still want to be with one another. And we were already heading down that journey, aiming at that, although that wasn't the words we were using, but that kind of encapsulated what we're wanting for our family. And so I knew that, man, especially as my kids were getting older, I've got to rearrange my life and my schedule, my priorities to make that a reality. I need to be intentional with my life because my life, I'm on the clock and they're on the clock. And so having that value and again, that filter and those principles, it just caused me to reevaluate what I say yes, what I say no to, because man, I want to do my job well, but I think one of the biggest things I'm tasked with is loving my family well and not cheating them and them getting the scraps in my life. So that kind of helped me. And again, I think the timing of it was when my kids were older, realizing, man, that time is flying by.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it. I didn't know you were ADHD. I am too. And I was diagnosed. I was on drugs, legal drugs for all my life.
Explain that, Pete. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was a guy in the ministry. I don't know if you know Rand Eberhard, but he's now at the Church of the Apostles.
Okay.
And so when we were talking, because I was on Adderall for the last maybe, I don't know, 8 years, whenever they came out with it. And he said something because he works in a position where he's pouring into the community through his ministry. And he said, that's legal speed. And I said, well, I never thought of it that way. The first pill I took at 5 o'clock in the morning was Adderall. And I was absolutely addicted to it because I found out I didn't know how to manage the skills. I call it the active brain. How do you deal with the active brain? Because we have that gift, but unless we know it's a gift, We don't use it as a gift. How did your journey in ADHD and being that active? Because I flunked out of college. I mean, I didn't know how to study. I didn't have the skill. I didn't have the focus. But when did you start embracing it to the point where you now are today, and it's obviously different than a lot of people with it that can't channel it?
Yeah. I would say it's coffee, man. It's coffee, my Georgia Bulldogs mug. And I say that tongue in cheek, but that's part of it. So my father-in-law is a medical doctor, and him being on this other side of me for 24 years, watching me, he prescribed to me, hey, you need coffee in the morning to lock your brain in. And so I made sure I got up this morning, had my cup of coffee so I could, put words together to hang out with my buddy Pete this morning. And it's ironic. It's so wild. I don't know about you, Pete, but I drink coffee at night and it shuts my brain off. So I could drink this at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night and fall asleep while I'm drinking a full caffeinated cup of coffee.
Totally.
And so that's kind of like the medicine, if you will, that I take to help me. I did about 2 years ago start walking down a journey with my primary care physician, looking into some medicine. I had a heart condition like 24 years ago. They're like, hey, we need to look into that before we can give you like anything that's a stimulant. So they put me on like a low dose of non-stimulant. I took it for like 5 days and it made my brain weird. And I told the doctor, hey, I'm not coming to you because I feel like if I don't get medicine, my life is in shambles. Because I actually feel like I've kind of come accustomed to how my brain works. And I actually feel like I kind of like it. But I was like, I'm just curious enough that I want to see what medicine would do for me. And then I'll go from there. And on that low dose non-stimulant for a couple of days, my brain was so just off that I was like, hey, doc, I think I'm good. I'm just going to stick to coffee and just know that who I am. I mean, again, I want to keep getting better, but like, I feel like I understand my brain, and I've built kind of rhythms and a schedule around, okay, this is who I am. This is how I work best. And so I guess knowing me is what's been helpful for me. But I have a question for you. So knowing that you're in the same camp as me, you told me, whether off air or in this conversation, I can't remember, that you work in 3 5-hour shifts and you kind of are super focused out your day. How does that happen? Because I sometimes when I first heard you say that, I was like, okay, Pete's wired a certain way. Like he's got a certain way that he just does life. He approaches life. He's wired different from me. But then you throw ADHD in there. I'm like, okay, Pete, something doesn't add up. So how did you kind of figure things out, and how do you stay focused for that amount of time?
That's a great question. ADHD is not a matter of focus. It's what you're focusing on. So if you work in your genius zone, whatever it is, you can stay incredibly focused. Where we struggle is like doing my taxes, which I hate to do.
Yeah.
Doing anything that don't like to do, I can procrastinate like anybody.
Amen. Yeah.
But I stay in that, when those 5 hours, I know what I'm doing in each of those chunks of time. I'm sensitive to the brain. I need breaks. I do 50 minutes and I take a break, walk around, do some things to just reset my brain. Then I come back with more energy. But I have a very structured plan for my day. It's not like, because if I don't, I'll just like sit there and look at the wall, I'll just rift off because I love to think. But when I wake up, my first thing is I drink water to hydrate. I think, I read, and then I start journaling, and then I plan my day and I implement the day. So I have a routine, and everything I do is built around routine. I can deviate. Like when David, our friend, called me, he texted me Friday morning and he said, hey, you want to have lunch today? I said, sure. He goes, a lot of things going on. I just want to have lunch. So I said, yeah. because I schedule white space in my time. Well, I texted, I said, do you want me to invite some other people to lunch? He goes, yeah, sure. So I texted 6 other people and I said, hey, I'm having lunch at Bonan's today with a friend. Would you care to join? 4 of them said, too busy. And this was Friday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
I am busy, but I schedule such that if an opportunity to sit down with a friend and have lunch, I can do it because I'm not so busy doing busy work. I'm doing the work that I love to do. So my days, I can do the same thing. Drink coffee at night doesn't bother me at all. But I wind down, and so I have certain things I do in those chunks to keep my brain challenged and active and focused. And it's been 3 years since I went off Adderall. And when I went off Adderall, my brain was like mush. You could say, Pete, raise your right hand. I'd say, what hand? Where? I couldn't even process because I was going to therapy and they'd say, okay, take a right. And I said, what'd you say? Because my brain had been so jacked up for so long, it didn't know how to operate independently. But gradually I got it back. It took months to really get that focus back.
What made you go off Adderall? I guess you were kind of in a groove. What made you switch?
So I was trying to get off, and I said, okay, I'm going to stop taking it because I was addicted. And so I put the pill in my pocket. I usually have it at 5 a.m. It was about 8, and I was panicking because I was losing focus and I wasn't getting things done. And I was giving my partner some work to do, and I was behind on it. So at 8 o'clock in the morning, I took the pill. Then I was having a conversation with my mom, and I basically made no sense at all. I mean, it just, and I had to text my brother, and because she started crying, I started crying because I was trying to explain that I was getting better with my stroke, but it didn't come out that way because it just flew out. And then, so I texted him, and I realized I need to do something because I wasn't functioning like I should. And I was totally addicted. I took it 7 days a week on Sunday. I didn't need to take it on Sunday, but I was hooked on it. And I think you got to be careful with prescription drugs because, I've proven over 40 years I was on and off either Ritalin or Adderall. And every time I got off, I would crash because I didn't know how to operate without the drug. But I didn't learn the skills, like you said, about learning those personal skills to say no, to have boundaries, to do things to get better. That wasn't something I had perfected. So it wasn't a good experience. But I want to ask you a question too. I had a guest on my podcast about 1.5 years ago, and I didn't know where he found me. He didn't know where I found him, but I asked him about his journey, and he grew up at 5 years old in a concentration camp in Russia, went on to do some phenomenal things. He's doing ministry in Africa. He ended up becoming a big time singer in Russia. And he said this, you have PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. He said, take the D and put G, post-traumatic stress growth. He grew because he had to survive. I've seen a lot of people go through tragedy and lean on growth versus being bitter. Have you had anything in your life where you felt the tragedy hit, the unexpected, and you grew through that experience as opposed to that experience taking you maybe south?
How long is this podcast, Pete? What's the rest of your week look like? and I don't say that tongue in cheek, because I'm a half glass full guy. And so I don't say that like Debbie Downer, but like the answer to your question is absolutely. Like, I've had so many things come against me. Like, and I will say, I feel like I'm blessed. I really do feel like I have a blessed life. But I mean, we could go through a million different episodes. I mean, I'm a Jesus follower. And so I look back, hindsight being 2020, and I've seen where, man, everything that is maybe not everything just yet, but man, most of the traumatic things happen in my life. I can look back, hindsight being 2020, and be like, man, God was up to something. Like, one of my favorite quotes that just brings like a warm blanket to my soul. This Pastor John Piper says that God is always doing 10,000 things around us at all times, and we're maybe aware of 3 or 4 of them. And I believe that, because I think back to my dad left our family when I was 3 years old. I mean, that's like the first major traumatic thing that I've had to deal with. I mean, I'm 46, and I still think about some of the stuff that did to me. Like, when he left, it did 2 things to me automatically. It caused some massive identity issues. Hey, if I was good enough, my dad wouldn't have left. And so I've had that narrative in my head my whole life. It also it dealt with my mom was a single mom raising me and my sister. So I've had some poverty issues, kind of like, anchoring and weighing me down. And man, God has taught me so much about who I am in him. That he's helped me in the identity piece. I mean, that might be why I'm in ministry today, is because I want to speak identity and purpose and worth into people's life. And it's birthed out of like the horrific past I've had. Fast forward, my mom has passed away. My grandparents have passed away. I mean, just so many people in my life have passed away. Like, I really don't have a whole lot of family on my side. My stepdad, who came to life when I was 8 years old, he passed away several years ago. It's just so many, like, just massive life's events. But one that I think is probably maybe not defined me the most, but just kind of reshaped me, helped me grow, was so my 16-year-old, my youngest, at the age of 4, was diagnosed with cancer. And I'm telling you, Pete, like, you never want to have a doctor tell you that anybody that you love or care about has cancer, much less your 4-year-old little girl. And man, Pete, that was life-changing for us. I will say that the day that we were told that she had cancer, we were on vacation with some friends in Florida, and she had gotten sick. So we took her to the hospital, and they were like, hey, this little hospital's like, that's above our pay grade. So they kind of whisked us away to Orlando to a brand new children's hospital. And so we get settled in. The doctor says your daughter has cancer. So they, as my wife is kind of helping her get settled into this hospital, I have to go back and get my kids who are with my friends. And so I have an hour drive back to where my kids are, my other 2 kids are. And I'm just boohooing. I'm crying my eyes out. I'm really not angry at God. I'm like, God, help me process this. Mm-hmm. And I felt like, and people don't believe me, but I felt like I heard the audible voice of God say, Daniel, I love her more than you love her. And I'm telling you, that became an anchor to my soul that got me through every day since, because it wasn't an easy street. I will say she's doing phenomenal. She's full of life and health and vitality. But one of the coolest things that's ever happened to our family, one of the many, I guess, monumental milestones in my life is, so I work at North Metro Church. And a few years back, we were renovating our property and renovating, our auditorium, and we pulled out the carpet, and it was this concrete, a slab, and we had a night of prayer and praise before we put new carpet in. You could come and you could write prayer requests and things on the floor that we cover up with carpet. And I have this picture that I keep on my phone, and it's just so good for me, because I think about where we've been and where we are now. My daughter, the one who went through the cancer journey, she wrote, and I wasn't with her, so I wasn't like dad prompting her, but she's like maybe 9 years old at this time, maybe 10, 11. She wrote, God, I thank you for my family, And I thank you for allowing me to have cancer because it helped me know you in a way I would not know you, God.
Wow.
And Pete, I'm telling you, I'm like, God, thank you. Like, I would never wish this on anybody, but I would never trade it because I felt like, and this I think is part of ministry, and this is why I want to help people. Is like, man, when things go bad, people think, man, God's left me. I've done something. He doesn't care about me. And I'm trying to flip the script, the narrative. Like, hey, listen, maybe we're misinterpreting the circumstance of our life. Like, I choose to believe that God loves you and He's for you, and He's doing 10,000 things in your life that, and maybe you're only aware of 3 or 4 of them. And looking back, hopefully we'll see with a little greater clarity. Again, I want to be sensitive because I know people go through some real hard things.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say, man, having my daughter going through cancer was horrible for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I look back, like, man, God, you were doing something. You were building something inside of her. Like, Pete, I believe my daughter knows God in a way that I don't know God because of what she's been through. And I'm like, only God can forge that and form that. And so do I always like what He does? No. But do I trust Him? Yeah, absolutely. Again, going back to like the beyond that, one of the probably going back to my dad leaving, like that just really shaped me. But man, God's redeemed some things and trying to help me like speak life into people. So I'm just like, man, thank you, God, for this perspective. And I will say it takes a tribe of people around me, my brothers, you, Pete, in my life, friendships to remind me, hey, man, like, I know it feels like God's abandoned you, but man, keep going. Like, God's up to something. I pray you'll see it one day, and He's forming something in you. And again, I could go on and on and on. Like, actually, at some point in my life, I might write a book. I already got the title for it. It's called All Things Hold Together. And it's from Colossians 1:16 and 17. It says that He is before all things, and in Him, He holds all things together. And it's just going to be a collection of, man, looking back on my life where I thought things were just that God had left me. And I'm like, no, He was holding all things together, forming something in me. And again, I got stories and stories and stories of just, man, God doing good things, bringing, beauty from ashes. And so, so maybe we'll have like a whole podcast series on that, Pete, because again, I got some crazy stories, but God's good through it all.
That's beautiful to have your daughter write that on the floor.
Man, yeah.
It literally, I get a chill thinking, because cancer, going through it, all you have to do is talk to anybody that's been through it. It's hell on earth that you have to go through physically. But for her to say that, just, whoo, that's powerful.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm semi losing it, so I got to change the subject. What?
Yeah, well, I'll send you the picture, and I'll take you to the spot.
I love it because when somebody that young says that, it's just, wow, is that special and powerful to have that kind of mindset they put on their that journey. And nobody says, like you said, nobody wants to go through it, but to say that they were glad because of this, because of knowing God better, wow, that's pretty special.
And just kind of linking a couple of things together too. I said earlier, like, one of my values is like a tight family. I want us to love each other and, man, to care deeply for each other. And, just another layer of perspective that kind of intertwines the story of my daughter's cancer. I never really thought about this until about maybe 6-8 months ago. I was sitting with some friends, and a lot of people, by the grace of God, say nice things about my family and how we love each other. And man, we're like a tight tribe. They've kind of saw that, and like, man, that doesn't just happen. How did you get there? And someone asked me probably 8 months ago, they're like, hey, do you think that God used your daughter going through cancer to help tighten y'all as a tribe? And I thought about it. My wife and I thought about it, like, absolutely. It's been part of the story that God has used to help form a tight family, because at the time we were a homeschool family. So we spent a lot of time together. And my daughter for 3 years had to go to the hospital every single week to get blood drawn. And because we're a homeschool family, it was a family affair. We'd all go together and rally around her. And there was like a 3-year window. They're like, hey man, we're all together. And again, God's doing 10,000 things around us at all times. And I'm like, man, like it was more than just about her health. It was about family and just a lot of things. I'm like, and he used a lot of different things to kind of like knit that together. I'm like, man, again, I'm thankful for what God has done in my life. And again, sometimes I need some help on perspective. But looking back, I'm like, man, God, thank you for what you're up to in my life. Like, I didn't necessarily like how you did everything, but man, the end result has been you've been doing something beautiful in our family, and I praise him for it. I really do.
It's beautiful. Yeah, I had a lady on my podcast. I haven't got her husband, but he was in my Bible study and had similar situation. Their son was diagnosed with cancer at a young age. And, knowing her and talking to him and him being in the Bible study, I knew a little bit more about their journey. But one thing they do, they don't do the normal, like give Christmas gifts to everybody and get that. They go away as a family and they go somewhere. So as he said, it kind of connected every one of all of our family together. Similar to what you're saying, that would not have happened if they hadn't gone through that horror. And his son was like that close to leaving us. And it's just like, and he came to know the Lord through that experience. And so all that to be said, terrible experience, but the outcome, the family drew closer. His relationship with Jesus grew closer. It just, everything changed as a result of it. So thanks for sharing that. That's, I think it gives people going through dark times hope, because when you're in the middle of it, you're not thinking of what it's going to look like on the other side. You're just trying to get through it and get through it with, knowing what you just shared is so good. What are you most excited about this year? We're almost like we're January. We got the year ahead. What would Daniel be most excited about this year?
The Georgia Bulldogs. No, I'm just kidding. Tongue in cheek. I hope so. I'm excited about them. I got into ministry. It's a call in my life, but I got into ministry personally because I want to help people. I really do. And I got involved with the John Maxwell leadership team because I want to help people. And I'm really excited about helping people. Personally, I do a lot of things in my vocation, but I love helping like men be great dads and fathers, husbands. And man, that's what fires me up. Like I just want to help people in general, but man, one of the greatest privileges of my life is to help men. Pete, you've been a part, come a time or two. I'm a part of a men's Bible study, small group, if you will. That's man, we've grown, man. We meet every Wednesday morning at our church from 6:30 to 8 a.m. And it started with me and a handful of guys a couple of years ago. And I just keep trying to like give my life away and invest and add value to people, that encourage them to do the same. And now that one group has turned into 13 groups that now meet together. There's about 110 guys that show up on a Wednesday morning, and we're just trying to get after it, man. We're trying to be great men, who just are blessings, who are sacrificial servant leaders. That's just call them. Like, I want to be a sacrificial servant leader. I'm not on an ego trip. I want to lay my life down to bless other people and help them do it as well. And so that's really, if you cut me open, what am I most excited about, man? Doing that and seeing men come alive and be better husbands, fathers, friends, employees, employers, and just people in the community. I mean, I get fired up about that. And I just want to do more and more and more of that. Just to be a blessing to people.
That is beautiful. I could ask you about 50 more questions, because I love your answers. But I want to invite you back, because I want to talk more the next time on that leadership journey, because I think when it comes to John Maxwell, and I'm an avid John Maxwell fan, I've read about At least I think he's written like 25 books. I probably read about half of them at least. So
he would say he read 100, but whatever. So yeah.
There's a lot. He's done a lot, and I just like his journey and you in that mode, because I think leadership and teaching leadership are so powerful in today's society, because we see what's happening around the world and our country, and if more people leaned into personal development, more people leaned into leadership, they wouldn't be screaming and yelling at each other like we're seeing out there. So I want to invite you back to talk more about that journey. So if you wouldn't mind being a guest, and I'll, we talked about flipping the script and just allowing you to have the power of the host and ask any question you want. You can have that. So
I'd love to.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. How can people get a hold of you? And then I have one final question.
Yeah, just launched a brand new website a few weeks ago, dhleadership.com. You can go there and find me there. That's really the best way to find me, kind of see what I'm all about. And I'd love to connect with you on leadership, on life, just personal matters, faith, being a father, husband, anything. Georgia football, I love to talk. And you might have a question for me, but I got millions of questions for you, because Pete, I am curious, man. I want to know I can't wait to host a podcast and you're the guest, because I got a million questions for you, because I think that's part of my growth journey. Yes. No one's ever arrived, and I want to be curious so I can keep growing and getting better and better and better. So look forward to connecting whoever I can connect with.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Daniel. What would be our final question? What would people listening, what would be the most important thing you would want them to take home from our time on this podcast?
Oh, man. Great question. I'll link it back. I don't know if it was before we got on air or not, but again, all of this is birthed out. Well, I say all of this. Most of this on the leadership journey is birthed out of the quote that I've just been latching onto from Maxwell for 20 years. And that's everything rises and falls on leadership. Mm-hmm. And I believe that. I really do. And there's been so much written about leadership and what is a leader. And I think, leaders can be defined and leadership defined in many ways, but I think about influence. And so therefore, like, whether you think you're a leader or not, you have influence. Like when you walk into a room, you get to help set the temperature. So therefore, we're all leaders. Mm-hmm. And if everything rises and falls on leadership, then man, I want to be doing anything and everything I can to become a better and better leader. That's why I'm always reading. That's why I'm taking in podcasts. That's why I'm trying to be eager and curious about people, because if everything really does rise and fall on leadership, and I'm a leader and you're a leader, then I want to get better and better and better at leadership and personal development and growth, because again, I want to be a blessing to the people around me. I want to be a blessing to my wife, to my kids, to my coworkers, to the people in my church, to you, Pete. And if I'm going to be a blessing, then I gotta grow as a leader. So everything rises and falls on leadership. So keep growing.
Awesome. Man, that is a great, thank you so much for sharing that with our community. Yeah. And you know what coffee does? It goes through the body. And if I don't take a coffee break,
That's right.
Today. So thank you so much, Daniel, for being a guest on our podcast. And
thanks for your time, Pete. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Okay.